Hi, it's Jennifer McGuire from Hero Arts, and I'm here to show you how to enhance a stamped background with little creasing, sanding, and inking. Here you can see the background on the card that I did. It's just a stamped image from Hero Arts enhanced with a little bit of color. Here's how the image started out. It's just stamped with brown ink on brown paper, and this is an embossing tool. Now you have to use white core paper for this to work. Now I'm just using this notch on my trimmer. This is a Fisker's trimmer, and that's the notch where the blade normally goes. I'm going to line that up with the lines in the pattern of the background stamp and put a crease line there. If you don't have an embossing tool, you can use your thumbnail even to do this. But I'm just making it so that I can easily fold this later. Now you need to use white core for this, and all Hero Arts note cards do have a white core. So I'm just continuing on and putting a crease along the lines in this pattern. Now you don't have to have a stamped image in the background, but I thought this was a great way to just enhance this stamp, which is one of my favorites. So now that I've got those creases, I'm going to go back and fold them real good. And I'm using this sanding block to sand along it. I'm getting pretty firm with it. I'm going to sand it until you can see the white all the way through. So those score lines just helped me fold along the stamped image lines. So I'm going to go ahead and sand on each and every one of them. Now I could stop at this point and I would end up with just these white lines to the pattern. You can see what the final results are here. I've done it in both directions. And I could stop here, but I wanted to add a little bit of color. And this is real easy to do. You could use markers for this step, but it takes a little bit more time, so I'm just using Distress ink. The colors of this are great and it absorbs right into it. So I'm just rubbing it right onto it. So you can see how that line will now be yellow. This ink will soften with time, so it'll be a nice distinct yellow line there. And then I'm going to go back and just create my own little pattern here with the colored lines. So here you can see I'm also adding a little bit of green to it also, with the Shabby Shutters Distress ink. So here you can see the final results. And I'm going to go ahead and matte this before I put it to my card since it's kind of flimsy from the creases. And here are some other stamped pieces that I did. I stamped on text paper with some chalk ink, and I used this leaf stamp. Now I also wanted some smaller leaves, so you can see these little ones I did here. It's actually from this portion of the stamp. I just stamped it and cut out that little portion and it made little leaves. Just a fun way to use your stamps in a variety of ways. So now I'm just going to start assembling, and when I create my cards I like to put a little bit of jute or string sometimes. It's an inexpensive embellishment and it adds some easy texture without bulk. This is one of the tricks I like to do. I like to just put it in a bow and then tuck it behind something. So here I'm going to lift up my foam dot here and just tuck the bow behind it. Nothing fancy. And this is easier than actually tying it through an embellishment. Just kind of fake it by hiding it behind the embellishment. And then I'm going to go ahead and start gluing my embellishments over it. And here I'm tucking behind one of my thin foam dots. You can see I used thick foam dots behind the matted background, but then some thin ones behind the embellishments. I like to have lots of dimension and layers, so this one I'll just glue straight on, so you get layers within the leaves themselves. Now I wanted to do some pearls on the background also, just to add even more dimension and texture to it. But when I put these white pearls on, they kind of stood out too bright. So I decided to go ahead and change the color. This is something great that Tammy Hartley did long ago and I do quite often. Just color right on it with any kind of permanent pen. I just use Bic Markets or Sharpie pens and it just works perfect. Here's a faster way to do it. You can color a bunch at once by adding the color right on the package itself. I just kind of scribble along the sides of it, and then I go around each pearl individually so I can make sure I get all the sides to it. It's a fun way to add some color. And here's the final result. I thought I'd also mention that this is based on a design by one of our Hero Arts hostesses, Donna Mikasa. Thanks for watching, and for more information, please check out the Hero Arts blog.